Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In today's video, what you're going to be seeing is I'm going to be covering the Cleveland Browns game against the Washington Commanders, the preseason game number 1, technically game number 1. We're going to be discussing how things went, covering the starters, doing a little bit of game film. The thing that's important with this game is a couple things. I think Deshaun Watson showed some growth. He looks like he played well. Number 2, I think defense showed a little bit of growth. There is a lot to improve on. We're going to get into this. And then number 3, Cade York. That's all I'm going to say. Cade York. But without further ado, if you enjoy, drop a like, and let's get into this. Okay, now starting off with some game film, we're going to start off with the defense. First drive of the game. Realistically, the way you kind of have to look at this game is the first drive of the game for each team was when the starters that were kind of there in the game were actually going to be trying really hard. After that, you weren't going to really be getting much of the starters. Like you look right here, you got Martin Emerson, you got Juan Thornhill, you got some starters out there, and then with Washington, you had like Sam Howell, Curtis Samuel was out there. I believe some of the offensive lineman starters were out there, so you kind of got to see some of the defensive linemen from the Browns get some work in. Ogbo was in there, I believe. Siaki Ika was in there. So we got some starters in the first drive, and that was what really mattered. I think a lot of people will look at this preseason game and they were going to freak out whenever it got to like the late second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. People, those aren't the starters. Those are the guys that maybe they get a job, maybe they don't. So starting off here, let's look at the very first play, or one of the very first kind of couple plays for Washington. Right here, I love this concept for the defense, and let me go back so you can actually see kind of how it took place. Now, for those of you who don't know, Jim Schwartz, his philosophy is like a wide 9 defense, basically trying to spread all these front 4 guys out and just let them feast, and then eventually the linebackers and maybe even sometimes a safety or a corner can come in and clean up with some blitzing. Now, if you'll watch closely, you'll be able to see the front 4 starts to kind of make the pocket collapse. That's the whole purpose. Just collapse the pocket. Don't make the quarterback be comfortable just sitting there and hopping around. Pockets collapsed. Here comes some extra guys. Linebackers come through, and Sam Howell has nowhere to go. There's nobody in the back end to throw the ball to. The quarterback's pocket is just destroyed, and it's game over. That's what we need out of the defense. And a lot of times I think the problem with this defense that I see is a lot of times you'll see the front 2 defensive tackles, they go in and they just get stuck right here. The edge guys, they go up and around, and then the offensive linemen, they just always have this thing with the Browns that, okay, let these 2 go up, and we're just going to shove them to one of these 2 sides. The edge guys are way out here going up behind the quarterback. The quarterback can just easily run right through. What did I think Jim Schwartz did smartly here in this game? Juan Thornhill, I believe, he was spying the quarterback a good bit in his first few drives that he was out there in the field, which I loved. Now let's look at a 3rd and 30 here. Obviously, 3rd and 30. You don't really think any team's going to be able to convert here, but we've seen a few times where the Browns defense has given up a 3rd and 30, so this was actually pretty important for us. So, obviously, in a Jim or Joe Woods defense, let's look here. All these guys you see here, they've been way back here just letting Washington come up and take an easy pitch and catch somewhere here, and then they would somehow be able to spin around and go the rest of the way. But the smart thing here, stay sound. Keep the guys all just right there in front, and then rally to the football. Everybody. You got Thornhill already there. JOK coming in. 3, 4 guys coming in. Don't just think, oh, one guy can tackle him, and everybody just stands way back there watching. Everybody come to the football. And let's go back here and look at the defensive line and see how they're doing. Because obviously right here you can see only 4 guys are rushing. Everybody else is dropping back in coverage. Because on a 3rd and 30, you want to play it safe. You want to think, okay, you got 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 guys at max are going out for a pass. You want to make sure you got 7 guys out there to just do not let anything stupid happen. So, what did the Washington do? They obviously know they're probably not going to get this first down, so they have just easily 2 guys or 3 guys went deep just in case, and then you have 2 checkdowns right here that Sam Howell can just choose between. And obviously he just chose his running back. Running back went out, got maybe about 10, 15 yards. Nothing too crazy, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys rallied to the ball. I love that. Now let's move on to the offensive side of the ball. The thing with the offense that we all said all season long was, is Deshaun Watson going to go back to his 2020 self? If he goes back to his 2020 self and this offense becomes his offense, this team can thrive in ways unimaginable. because we saw last year he tried to become his old self, but obviously, 11 game suspension. You're not going to be able to just jump back in, and you didn't even play football the year before. That's a long time of not playing football within the NFL to just jump right back in and think, oh yeah, I'll be good. Now let's start off with the very first play that he had in this offense. You're on 39-yard line. You get some pretty good field position, and let's see what it does. Line up, Elijah Moore, great play. I see a lot of people talking about this, saying, why is Elijah Moore back there? We need to sign more running back. People, it's preseason. Who cares if you win or lose these games? This is basically just practice. The philosophy behind if Elijah Moore is in the backfield is look at what San Francisco is doing with Deebo Samuel. He lines up in the backfield a lot. I don't see anybody complaining about that. If we can utilize Elijah Moore to be any of the Deebo Samuel, hell yes. Because the beautiful thing about this is if Elijah Moore can be a Swiss Army knife, hitting the slot guys, being a slot receiver, taking balls out of the backfield, giving Nick Chubb some breaks sometimes, to where if Nick Chubb comes out here and he can take like 3 runs and get like 20 yards of that, and then they think, okay, Nick Chubb's out of the game, they're going to start throwing the ball. Nope. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to line up. We're going to put Elijah Moore in the backfield and just hand it right to him. And the beautiful thing right here is I love the blocking, especially the fact that even without the main starters out there, this team still has a good offensive line when it comes to run blocking. That was one thing I was worried about going into this game because I knew Washington, they were going to be playing a lot of their starters, even though it's a preseason game. How was our offensive line going to do against them? They did pretty good against the run block, that I will say. And you see right here, keep the blocks going. Elijah Moore, I say right here, if he had just a little bit more speed, if he was able to outrun this guy, that was 6. That was 6, because if he outran him, this guy was not getting him, and he would have just blew right by him and took that thing to the house. Now let's look at the next play here. Deshaun Watson, the beautiful thing with him compared to like guys like Baker Mayfield and Jacoby Brissett, he did pretty good at scrambling. Baker Mayfield was okay at scrambling. But Deshaun Watson, he has like that twitch, that mobility, the shiftiness to where when the pocket is collapsing, he's not going to stand there. He's not going to just wait and hope that somebody gets open downfield. He's going to move around. He's going to keep his eyes downfield. But when times get tough and there's nothing getting open, right here. In this moment, Jacoby, I love him. He shredded the Browns defense up a little bit last night whenever the starters went out of the game and Jacoby went in. But Deshaun has this way where he knows where to move in the pocket. Jacoby and even Baker, if you see where my cursor is, they would have just started running this way or running that way. And that would have allowed for these defenders here to all just like swarm to him. Whereas Deshaun, he knows, step up in the pocket, stay in the pocket. The defenders aren't going to really run at him yet because they know, wait, he's still behind the line of scrimmage. He can still throw the ball. But you also have that availability to run with it if he need be. So right there, they're not really going toward him, but the second he crosses that line of scrimmage, it's too late for them, and he can easily dive for a first down. We needed that out of Deshaun. It's just one of these, another weapon that he has within his arsenal that he can use to destroy a defense. And if he can play this ability perfectly throughout the season, this offense can be potent. Now going here to another play, just a basic run play. I think this doesn't really need to be shown, but it does go on to the fact that what I said, how the run defense was very good last night. Obviously, these little pistol run plays are always good because when Nick Chubb is going to be in the game, these are the plays that he's going to love. Now let's look at this play right here. Obviously, like we said, simple run play. Demetric Felton was able to just take this right around the edge. Simple play, doesn't need to be anything crazy. I'm going to think we're going to have a lot of those kind of runs the rest of the season with Nick Chubb. Those are the kind of runs Chubb likes. Get everybody lined up, kind of on the one side, and then he can kind of take it on that weak side. Not have to worry about too much traffic over there. He can just kind of come around this corner. The only guy you really have to worry about is going to be if your receiver can get this guy, you just have 2 linebackers and your safety coming down to try to get you. Most of the time, you're going to have a tight end maybe swinging over to come over and help. It's going to be an easy run play, maybe 9 times out of 10. Now, once again, we have another play here. Receivers cannot get open, and what does Deshaun Watson do? Works some magic. He had a little bit of a slip right there. Kind of got freaked out when I saw that. But he is able to just stay commanding of the offense, step up, move around, get around his defenders, easy first down. Now, once again, you have another play here. It was second down. Demetric Felton was lined up on the right side of Deshaun Watson. I thought this play worked out very well. The only sad part was it wasn't a touchdown. His knee did apparently touch down. I will kind of slow it down here. And right there, you can kind of see his knee just barely touches down. The ball was still like a little bit behind the line. It's kind of sad that he didn't score there, but it is what it is. Now, moving on, they did have to review the play and review that it was not a touchdown. They do show it, but moving on to 3rd and goal, I want to go ahead and get something across to everybody. And I will spoil it if you didn't watch the game. They don't score a touchdown on this drive. A couple things I want to talk about. Number one, if Nick Chubb was in that game, this was an easy touchdown because Deshaun would have just gotten under center, put Chubb in the backfield, and he would have addressed what is up here. If the linebacker's all sitting back, just hammer it up the center with a quarterback sneak, or if you want to run it, you can do that too. But if everybody was all crowded right here on the line, you would just hit a little stretch run to Nick Chubb, one of these two sides, get out of the traffic. It was an easy touchdown. But obviously, without Nick Chubb in there, I was kind of surprised they went with more run plays down here around the line of scrimmage. But I think their plan was, hey, we have a good offensive line. Let's try to hammer this ball in there. I would have liked to see them try to get a little pass play, maybe like a fade ball to Njoku. Try to get Cedric Tillman in there, maybe give him a chance on a slant route. But it is what it is. Now, whenever they went for it on 4th and goal, you might be saying, well, why didn't we just take the 3 points? We'll get into that later. There was a reason why I think they didn't go for it. But it is kind of, remember, it's preseason. Do we want to be watching somebody go for field goals, or is it better to get some guys some reps at 4th and goal on the goal line? Let's see if we can go get a touchdown right here. I think it was more important to go try to get that rep, and obviously it didn't work. It's better so that we know that, so now we can go back and try some new plays for 4th and goal in the future if we needed to score in that situation. Now let's go over the defense one more time, something I want to talk about. I thought they looked great right here in this kind of play. It was 3rd and 10, Washington, they pretty much kept everybody in. You got 2 backs in here. They were only sending 3 guys out. These guys were more in here for the pass protection and then just kind of going out. But look here. You are getting pressure. These 2 are just kind of holding that man, and they just shove right in there. This was great. You got a holding call. Would have been sacked. Chance for a fumble. Disruption on top of disruption. For anybody wondering, this was, I believe, the point of whenever the Browns' defense of starters actually all went out of the game. So after this point, the defense did kind of lit up, which is something I want to discuss. There was a point in the game, I can't find it, where Jim Schwartz, he went bonkers. When I say bonkers, I mean bonkers. Now moving on to a strong side of the offense, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, DTR, if he is not the backup going forward, we have a problem. Like, after watching this game and then the last game, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, his projection of how good he can get is just going up and up and up. Kellen Mond, you had 2 games of film where it's like the first game, you were average. This game, you kind of helped yourself with that touchdown at the end of the game, but it wasn't much. And the thing with DTR, with what he can do great, is I might be over praising him a little bit, but he's like a younger, more raw, more teachable style of Deshaun Watson. Like Deshaun Watson, he's already learned everything kind of he needs to know. He just has to improve on everything, get better and better and better. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he's basically what Deshaun was as a rookie, where he's got so much learning to do, but he's so damn good right now. I mean, you can just see the way he plays, takes the easy throws, has a nice touch to the ball, doesn't zip it in there, make it hard for the receivers to catch, and the way he runs. The way he runs is like Deshaun, because there's times where the ball cannot get to the receiver, and he's going to have to just run like Deshaun does, and he knows what he needs to do. He's not going to just go and lower his shoulder as well like some guys do, even though he did do that in the preseason game or in the Hall of Fame game, but he's smart with how he moves the ball. Now, what do I think he could get better at? You see him on some of these pitch and catches. It seems like this entire drive, Kevin Stefanski walked him down there. And also, I think Washington at this point, they kind of had their third strings in for their defense. They pretty much saw everything they needed to. They were done for the game. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he was able to just walk this team down the field. What do I think needs to get better? I think in the second preseason game, if Deshaun plays, once again, he'll probably just do 1 drive, maybe 2 drives. I think Dorian Thompson-Robinson needs to go in right after. Don't put Josh Dobbs in. Put DTR in. Let's see how he does. If he goes out there and he still does good, he needs to get this backup job. And then after that, I think obviously Deshaun won't play the last preseason game. He'll be done for there. He'll be able to just sit out and wait till the week 1. But then at that point, that's where DTR needs to go in right away, because that's where you're going to have everybody from more of your starters kind of in the games and more of the people that are going to be trying to fight for their job. So it's going to be more intense football. That's where we'll see the best version of him, I believe. But obviously right here, easy pitch and catch, slant route to David Bell. I'm telling you, man, DTR, if he hasn't earned that backup job, which is kind of sad to say, earning the backup job, but he's earned it, in my opinion. Now, 2 more things I want to go ahead and touch. First, like we said with Kellen Mond, I think he's kind of just dwindled himself out of this team. He's probably going to be gone by the end of the cuts. But let's go here to the 2-point conversion. What exactly went wrong here? Obviously, the way this route's kind of set up is for you have the receiver going up here on like an up and out route. You got the guy right here. That's like the number 1 route. This guy right here, this is where he's trying to go with the ball. But the corner has good leverage. Usually you want the receiver to beat that man. He's just kind of going down here. It's a catch, and then he can just lay back, get in the end zone, easy touchdown. You have another route up here to where if things were to go south and everybody just puts their eyes down here and this guy is forgotten, he can just throw it back up over there. And then you have, I believe, another tight end right here kind of leaking out. And that's what I want to talk about right here. He has to come back because nothing, obviously those 2 guys aren't open down there. The guy up there, he's forgotten. Right here. You made the man miss. Did you catch that? Did you see what happened here? Let's go back, just so everybody can catch this. Who's covering this tight end? These 2 guys, I believe. That corner, he notices that this tight end could be coming through. This corner is still here. And bam, you made your man miss. Corner's gone. Tight end's open. Now, I understand he can move in. But it's one of these throws where it's like, the game's on the line. Take a chance, Kellen. Now let's discuss the one thing that's pissing every single Cleveland Browns fan off. Cade York. What is his one job? Make a field goal. We're not asking you to kick from no 55, 60 yards, which we know he has the leg for, but his accuracy is dog shit. Now, we already know he missed his field goal from the Hall of Fame game, his one and only field goal attempt. And what did he do in this game? He comes out. Nothing crazy. This is from basically a 52-yarder. This is what we expect from like some veteran kickers in the league, guys who could just go out there and routinely make these kicks. I could probably name you at least like 5 or 10 kickers that are free agents that are begging to be signed that could probably make this kick with ease. And Cade is just botching his attempt to be on an NFL roster. So it's like we line it up. Everything's good. Good snap. Good hold. And nope. And you look at the kick and you're wondering, man, how did he miss? Well, that's what I'm wondering too, because as this ball is flying, those posts are going that way. Those posts are like going like back into the left. He missed to the right. So did he kick it to the right? Or what did he do? Now, what does this mean for the team going forward into the preseason week 2? Obviously, I think Deshaun is probably going to play maybe 1 or 2 more drives. Maybe in this game, maybe in the next game, depending on how things look. I think Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he needs to be moved up to the secondary quarterback whenever Deshaun goes out. Dorian Thompson-Robinson goes in immediately. I want to see how he does against maybe some possible first stringers, maybe the second stringers. Because it seems like the Hall of Fame game, he was going up against second, third, fourth stringers. I want to see him against second stringers, maybe first stringers. I want to see how he does there. Because if he goes up against them and he still looks like he's playing good, we got to steal our hand in the 5th round. And then with the defense, obviously there's some things to clean up. There's always room for improvement. If Myles Garrett was out there, the pass rush would have been a lot better. If I believe Denzel Ward wasn't playing in there, and neither was Greg Newsome, if they were out there, the man-to-man coverage would have been a lot better. Jim Schwartz has to know that. He was getting heated on the sideline. I was trying to find the video of him getting heated and yelling and screaming. It was pretty funny, but I couldn't find it. But if he understands that once he has all his guys out there, that this defense is going to be great, it's going to be complete carnage. And then the last thing, like I said, with Cade York, Kevin Stefanski needs to realize he needs to go get another kicker. Give Cade York competition. Make him realize, okay, I'm not just secured this job. Because if Cade he's getting comfortable, and I realized somebody online said This isn't about just him understanding how to kick a football. This is mental. This is something mentally that's going on with him. He's got like a mental block, and somebody needs to help him get through it. I even said in my previous video, I believe, I said, does Cade need a hug? Like, does he need a hug or something? Because there's something wrong with him, and I don't know what's going to take to get through to him to make him understand. You can make these kicks. You just got to focus up, dude. But other than that, that's really all I got to talk about today. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you did, drop a like. Be very much appreciated if you do so. If you're new to the channel and you want to stay tuned with the content that I do post here, I upload Cleveland Browns content, maybe a little bit Guardians content. If you'd like to see that kind of stuff, Cavaliers content whenever the basketball season does get back into play. Basically everything to do with sports, news, events, everything sports, reacting to different kind of football games. If you guys like to see that kind of stuff, let me know in the comments, and I'd be more than welcome to make videos on that sort of stuff. As always, I do have a TikTok if you want to go over there and follow that. Link will be down in the description. And without further ado, this has been Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.